How's it going, guys? Alex here. Welcome back to another SSR Analysis video, and today we are going to be taking a look at the brand new Gohan and Super Buu. And before I do get into it, I just want to thank everyone for the incredible support on my latest video. That isn't this one, so the last video that I did. If you haven't seen it already, it's basically a Dokkan Battle challenge in real life, and a lot of you seem to love it. And the forfeit that it's currently rated the highest is the face reveal, so I guess that's what I'm going to have to do soon. I don't know, whenever. And as always, if you do enjoy the content on this channel, consider subscribing. But let's go ahead and jump straight into it with the new Gohan. His leader skill gives free ki and a 50% boost to super physical types. So similar to Broly in a way, but again, it's only for physical types. So in a way, he is the physical super lead, but you are better off just running Broly or Cooler. But it's still a nice leader skill to have if you don't have any of the newer units. This is definitely one of the better leader skills. There are units that have dual type leader skills and obviously give a type boost, but this is definitely one of the better ones. Unfortunately, it's not universal, and what I mean by that is not free ki and the stat boost to villains, so you do have to focus a bit more on heroes, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because there are a lot of good hero type units that you can put in the team and they do work out well together. He causes supreme damage and has a rare chance to stun. His passive gives free ki to physical types and a 40% attack and defensive boost to super physical types, okay? And before I do talk about that, let's move on to his links. He has All in the Family and the Saiyan lineage, Cold Judgment, Power Bestowed by God, and Revival. So unfortunately, he doesn't have very good links. He doesn't even have Prepare for Battle or Shocking Speed, which is a shame. However, the one thing that does make up for this is his passive. He gives free ki to physical types, and of course he does give the 40% attack and defensive boost. And he can also stun. So in a way, he is similar to the World Tournament one. They can both stun, which is an okay thing. They both have the leader skill that gives a percentage boost to, you know, specific types. But again, this one is much better than the World Tournament one because he's actually usable. However, because the current monophysical lead is for villain teams, he isn't that great at the moment. When the monophysical super lead comes out, he is going to be great, especially if you don't have that many good units that link well together. He definitely does have a lot of potential in the future, but for now, he isn't the greatest. If his passive skill was universal and he gave that 40% to villains and heroes, then he would obviously be much better. But at the moment, I would say that Pan is most likely a better support unit because she gives a 30% boost to all types. But Gohan is still a good unit nonetheless. Wow, do I have good things to say about the physical Super Buu. He is by far the best Super Buu in the game. And he is an incredible unit. Me and Zenrot were in a call, and when he came out, we were just like, wow, he is way too good. There's no way this is true. But then when we found out that he's actually this damn good, we were just like, okay, so all the problems for the physical team have been solved, essentially. Because if you didn't know, on Global, Goku Black is now going to give free ki to extreme types, and then it would have been like, okay, so if Goku Black had this on JP, then it wouldn't necessarily be a problem, because that free ki will obviously allow you to link up certain units that normally wouldn't link up too well. You know, it would give ki to those units. But then Buu comes out and just completely solves those problems anyway, and he is an incredible unit. If I'm not mistaken, this actually makes the physical team, or an extreme monophysical team, the best tanking team in the game. And if you want me to go over that in a separate video, do let me know in the comment section down below. But let's go over this card. He gives free ki and a 50% stat boost to extreme physical types, so like Gohan but for extreme types. He causes supreme damage and recovers 15% of damage dealt. That is huge. Okay, so let's say that on a monophysical team you will have around 250,000 health, okay? So with every super attack, you are essentially recovering like 30,000 to 40,000 health, potentially even more depending on how much health you have, which is absolutely ridiculous. So the problem with physical before was that they couldn't tank, or they couldn't maintain themselves essentially, but now they are easily one of the best teams in the game, and it's all thanks to Buu. Not only can he recover, but now you have units like Cooler who can tank, you have Goku Black who can debuff. It just works out really well, and they can still hit hard at the same time, which is insane. So let's move on to the rest of this card. Of course, he gives free ki to physical types, and he gives a 40% attack and defensive boost to extreme physical. So again, very similar to Gohan. The only difference is that his links are for extreme type, or his passive and leader skill are for extreme types. But now his links: the Innocence, Brutal Beatdown, Metamorphosis, Margin, Infinite Regeneration, Fear and Faith, and the Wall Standing Tall. So before, everyone was kind of annoyed that, you know, Cooler didn't get Fear and Faith, but now Buu himself has Fear and Faith, which he shares with a lot of units. He shares it with LR Ginyu. I'm pretty sure that LR Ginyu has it in his other state, so to speak. You have Goku Black, who has Fear and Faith. You have Sin Shenron. He shares Fear and Faith with a lot of the units in that unit group. Well, a lot of the top tier units. And then he also gives free ki to physical types. So he is basically going to be in your rotation every other turn. But you can definitely have a really good setup here. He is basically never going to be in that third slot just because of how important he is. But not only does he allow your team to function ridiculously well, but he can also provide other things to your team, like I mentioned before. He has incredible links, he gives that 40% attack and defensive boost, which again equates to how well your units are going to be tanking. He gives it a free ki, he recovers health, he has a decent leader skill if you don't have that many good leads. He is just an incredible unit at the moment, and that is what puts him over the physical Gohan. The fact that the physical lead is an extreme type definitely does help him, but overall I would say that he's a better unit naturally anyway. He recovers health and he also has better links, admittedly. Okay, so gotta go ahead and make a mono physical extreme team. Of course you're going to be running a double cooler lead, and if you don't have cooler, you're most likely going to be running Broly / a cooler friend, and hopefully you guys can find a really good one if you don't have one like me. So second unit is going to be Goku Black. Unfortunately, he isn't as good as the global version. If you didn't know what he does in global, basically he gives free ki to extreme types, which would be extremely useful on this team. Again, he is still a great unit, and again, he does have high stats on global as well. Just going to quickly put that in there. However, because of how good Super Buu is, Goku Black not having that specific part of his passive on JP isn't too much of a problem. It still would help, but again, the problems that were present before aren't problems if you have Super Buu specifically. You're most likely going to have to summon for him and of course Gohan, but if you do have them, then you honestly can't complain about your team because it's now easily one of the best teams in the game, if not the best team. And of course, if you do want me to go over that in a different video, do let me know in the comment section down below. And then I'm going to put Transcended Ultra Rare Ginyu in there because as a Transcended Ultra Rare, he has Fear and Faith. I mean, he has Fear and Faith as an SSR. He gets Shocking Speed as an LR, which again probably isn't obtainable for several months slash weeks. And of course, because Dokkan Battlefield isn't here at the moment, he isn't obtainable, so no one even knows when it's going to come back. So unfortunately, no LR Ginyu for now, but you can run a Transcended Ultra Red Ginyu, which is definitely possible at this time, because I would imagine that if you have a decent box, you would have had enough time to go ahead and go for him, unless you decide to get the medals for some of your other rebirths. Okay, so let's go ahead and add Sin Shenron to the team. Unfortunately, he doesn't have Shocking Speed like Omega Shenron. If he did, he would obviously share that Shocking Speed link with Cooler, which would have made life a whole lot easier. But again, if you do have Super Buu or Ginyu at this point, you should be fine. Specifically Super Buu, even if you do have Ginyu, there are going to be problems with ki. So if you manage to be, if you are one of the people that pull Super Buu, congratulations. You now have a really good team. It's not that it wasn't good before, it just now runs better. So Sin Shenron, he has Fear and Faith with Goku Black, and of course Ginyu, he has Fierce Battle, and he gets an 80% attack boost and lowers defense by 80%, not 80%, 30% I believe. No, it's 20% down, and that is the wrong version. So 80% attack up and then defense down by 30%. So yeah, I was right the first time. And then, of course, Full Power Frieza, which is where the problems start to come in, to be honest. Before Full Power Frieza, he didn't exactly have a problem, and here's why. Cooler does need, still would have needed ki, but because you don't have that additional unit that requires even more ki, in which case would be Frieza. So what I'm basically trying to say is, you wouldn't need 2 units that would require more ki than the others, and then when you add Full Power Frieza into the mix, it does make it harder, especially on certain rotations. So having a unit like Super Buu in there definitely helps out massively, because you have 1, 2, 3, 4 units that link up perfectly. So by adding Super Buu to this team, it's going to run way more smoothly. You have 4 units with Fear and Faith, which again allows you to use other ki for units that require more ki, like Full Power Frieza and Cooler. But again, if you keep Cooler and Full Power Frieza together, that is going to allow you to super attack easier with them, because they share the strongest clan in space, which is a link that gives 2 ki to both of them, so they are only going to need 4 ki to super attack. And if you have a unit like Ginyu or Super Buu on that same rotation, they are going to be having a problem supering. But realistically, you're most likely going to be putting Ginyu in that 3rd slot. However, Super Buu is a different case. You're most likely going to be putting him in the first slot or second slot the majority of the time, because not only does he give ki, but he also gives that stat boost, which is definitely very significant, especially when you have units like Goku Black. So even if he didn't have ki issues, Buu still provides something else, which is great. And he also has great ki links, so it's crazy to see how much of a difference a single unit can make. Before, his team kind of struggled for ki, but now it's definitely coming together as a team, and it's potentially the best team in the game. It for sure is the best tanking team in the game, and I will probably go over that in a different video. But I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Keep in mind that Gohan isn't a bad unit, Super Buu is just simply better. But I hope you guys have a great day as always, and if you are new, subscribe and leave a like, and I will see you all in the next one.